Hi everyone, and welcome back. This week we're supposed to be working on the 64 Chevelle and getting it ready for paint. And we are going to do that today in some capacity because we're going to paint the inside of the trunk lid so that it will be done so we can go with the whole coat in one sweep over the rest of the car. So we're going to start with that, but I just want to tell you something show you something that I bought this morning. So here we have what I've been picking up this morning, and it's a 1994 Suburban. It is a two-wheel drive, and I especially want to have a two-wheel drive. I'm not sure if this is how people look at it over in America also, but for some reason Chevy trucks and Suburbans and Taos and this sort of vehicle in general in Sweden, everyone wants them to be four-wheel drives for some reason. And I don't use four-wheel drive in that way. I don't live in an area where I need four-wheel drive. In the winter, often they get rid of the snow on the roads really early, and so I don't have that problem where I need four-wheel drive a lot, and I can drive with my mind. And if I see something where I probably will get stuck, I can avoid it. So I really want a two-wheel drive. It's much more simpler. I don't need the front diff, less stuff to brake. It's a little bit easier, or it's a little bit nicer on the road. It gets a little bit better mileage. So I don't know, I just prefer two-wheel drives, and they're really hard to come by over here. So that's especially the reason why I picked this up. And the other reason is basically it was really cheap. I paid $1,000 for this thing, and it's a bit rough around the edges, but it's a decent truck. It is fully drivable. I have only driven it up on a trailer, but the guy I bought it from drove it a couple of miles to his home, so it will be easier for me to pick up today. So it is drivable. It has these awful, in my opinion, off-road wheels. I am going to put on some other wheels that is going to suit the two-wheel drive appearance a lot better. But I can get a few, maybe $200 for this or something. So the two-wheel drive and the being a 94 I really like, but there are some stuff I don't like about this, and that is because it's a Southern Comfort conversion, and that comes with a lot of wood panels in the interior, which is the worst thing I know. Also, they often put in these leather captain's chairs, which also we have in the back. I really need to, I prefer to have the original back seat, but it looks okay. But all of this wood trim will go today. I hate it. I really hate it. Unfortunately, there are a lot of after done stuff for speakers, but it is what it is. But the only wood panel that will stay for now is this thing, because we have the knobs for the rear heater. So maybe I will look for a original roof console, but for now it's going to stay. But it is decent. I mean, the driver's seat is a bit worn, but that's to be expected, and the carpet is a bit stained, but it's not nasty in any way, but it's old. So we're gonna do some cleaning of this. This thing I thought was, oh wow, shit, I didn't think that would work. I think this was pretty cool that they have done their own horn knob, and I realized that they have made some aftermarket, they did some leather on the steering wheel. So it's really gross, as you can see, but I thought that if we cut this open and remove it, the original steering wheel is probably, or the steering wheel under it is probably in really good shape. Also, I forget to mention that this is not a Chevy Suburban, it's a GMC, and I am not sure about the trim levels, but in SLE I guess that's the highest trim option, I'm assuming. Also, you can see that it has this two-tone paint job. It's a bit brighter in the bottom and darker in the top. I really like this. This is the original color from GM, and they painted this brighter on the bottom. It would be really nice to have the whole car in this color. And I forgot to mention, I really love these tan interiors. This is my favorite color of all on the interiors. It's too bad that it has these seats, but they're decent. But the combination of this tan interior with this color is really, really nice. But besides that, it has some rust in some spots. But my plan is I'm going to remove all of these, the flares and the floorboards or the step-ins. We're going to remove all of that. We're going to put on some other wheels, remove all of the wood trim, and making me probably how it looked when it rolled off the assembly line before Southern Comfort bought it. And I know that some people love all of this stuff, but it's just not for me. And as I said, it's a GMC, but apparently he hit a deer, so he mashed the grill, mashed the front bumper and the lower lip. Apparently the lower lip was body color before. And you can obviously see that it's a 6.5 diesel front bumper with the holes. It would be nice to get a gasoline bumper, if you want to call it that, but it's not that important. I need to get rid of these. You Americans have probably never seen these, but it was stupid rules here in Sweden that you need to have washers for your headlights. So all of our grills are ruined with these stuff. But now you don't have to have them. So we're going to remove those and just generally get it into the stance and appearance that I prefer. So yeah, that is the GMC, and we're gonna do some work to it today. What we can do in a day. It is fully drivable. As I said, he drove it a few miles to his place, so I've gotten it insured and everything, so I can use it. It's not inspected, so it's not legal, but you can drive it on the road, so that I can use it. Unfortunately, the windshield is really, really bad, but I want to get this in my stance and start using it somewhat. I'm not going to drive it a lot, but we need to do some work before we can call it a daily driver. And also I wanted to find exactly this. But I wanted to find it in a little better condition. Also, I forgot to mention that I really, really wanted a 92 to 94 because I wanted the old interior. And something here in Sweden that I talked about a little bit before is that in the period from after 91 and to like 95, there was do you call it a recession? There was a really bad economy in Sweden in those years. So obviously, since American cars are a luxury thing here in Europe, but in Sweden also. So obviously, when the economy is bad, you don't buy big gas guzzlers like Suburbans. So all of the 92 to 94s are imported. So with that said, probably no or very, very few two-wheel drive Suburbans were sold new here in Sweden. So that also makes them very hard to find. There's almost no 92 to 94 Chevys, period, in Sweden. And if you look, they're always imported, maybe like in the early 2000s or something. So that's why it's really hard to find the exact thing that I wanted. So I'm really happy that I found it, but I would have preferred it to be in a little better condition. But also it is in a condition so that I don't have to worry about it. I can make some patches, I can make it look nice, but I can also drive it in the winter and don't be bothered with getting it more rusty or feeling that it becomes in worse shape. So that's the story of why I bought it. So we're gonna do some work to it today, but I really wanna get some paint on the inside of the trunk lid so that can cure over the night. And then tomorrow we can sand the whole car, prep the garage and everything, so that on Wednesday we can just give this a coat of paint and hopefully be done with it. As you can see, I put on the tail lights and I also put on the front bumper because there was a local Cars and Coffee meat type out here where I live. And my kids wanted to take the Chevelle, so I put on the bumper to have some indicators and the tail lights so that we could drive it. And it was really, really nice to drive the Chevelle to this event, because when you're driving it and you're in the driver's seat and you only see the hood and the fenders, you get the feeling that the whole car is black and nice, and that was really inspiring. And also, we parked it there, and when you park the car and you move a few feet from it, it looks really, really nice. You don't see the dust that I got in the paint. And also on Saturday, we was at another car meet here. And I looked at a lot of other cars. There were two other 64s there, one convertible and one hardtop. and I love cars in the $10,000 to $70,000 price range. And I was looking at the bodywork, and if you go like this and squint and see how straight a body is, and I realized that I'm judging my bodywork way too hard, because I saw cars for $50,000 or that I would value at $50,000 that was at least, that the Chevelle is at least as good as those cars. So I should really stop giving myself a hard time over the body on this thing. It's gonna look great, and if you look close, yeah, of course it's not perfect, but from a few feet it looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with what we have accomplished so far, and if we can paint the rest of the car and get somewhat less dust than that, I'm gonna be completely satisfied. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now and start prepping the trunk. So the trunk lid. I took a decision on this trunk lid a long time ago that I deemed it not worthy to do a proper repair. I assume that I have been looking, but I couldn't find right now, but I believe in time you can find a decently rust-free trunk lid that is worth fixing for like $200 or something. And me spending like 2 days fixing this ain't worth it if you can find a new one for $200, which I strongly believe you can in time. So my decision was just put some filler in the rust and paint it, and it will look really nice. And when I sell this thing, which I inevitably will do in a pretty soon future, I will tell the buyer that the trunk lid and the left door are not great. If you can't live with knowing that it is plastic filler in the rust, then you can change them. So I'm not gonna cover it up or something. Yeah, I'm gonna cover it up with filler, but I'm not gonna not say it, so the next owner will know. So with that said, we are just gonna scratch this off with a wire wheel. Then I'm gonna put some tape here on the inside, and we're just gonna fill this with filler so that it looks nice. It's gonna look nice. It's gonna be shiny and everything, but I know that some people don't think like me. I don't care if it looks good and I can enjoy the car. What difference does it make? But I know that not everyone thinks like I do. So I'm gonna scratch this, remove some of this surface rust. Then we're gonna see if we can fill this and make it look a little bit better. So we scratched off all the worst surface rust, and this is obviously not gonna look fantastic, but it's also the inside of the trunk lid, so I'm not bothered about it. And I put in some duct tape here so that it will be easier to fill this with body filler. And yeah, I'm just gonna do it simple, nothing extraordinary. Then we can just sand off the worst of it, and that will be good enough. So yeah, I'm gonna put in some body filler. The filler has hardened now, so now I can sand this. I think I'm gonna take some like 80 grit sandpaper on the orbital and trying to get that as good as possible. I'm not gonna bother too much. Just see if we can how easy it is to sand here with the locking mechanism. But yeah, while that was hardening, I was prepping the Suburban to remove these awful flares and side steps. So currently this side is only holding on by 2 screws, but we're gonna remove that together later. I wanna try and focus on one thing, at least on video, but I wanna multitask, so it will be a little bit easier to work on the Suburban. But yeah, I'm gonna try and sand this and see how it turns out. So here we have it, and some of you are probably gonna say that I'm so what do you want to call it, not serious and doing a shitty work. But as I said, I don't see the point in fixing this. I think that this will take at least 2 days to fix, and it's just not worth it. But I took some seam sealer and fixed the cracked old seam sealer. And also this edge, the whole edge is like thick, and you can feel the metal has expanded because of the rust in between. So it was pretty sharp, and yeah, it doesn't look good. So I just took some seam sealer to even it out and make it a little bit smoother, so you don't cut your fingers and stuff like that. And man, at least we don't have gaping rust holes when you open the trunk, and I think that's good enough for this car. And maybe in the future you change the trunk lid, whatever. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the scuff pad and just go over this really easy. And then we shoot it. Mask a little bit here on the rear quarters and paint it black. Yeah, remember we have to paint the inside of this black also. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. So I'll start preparing for that. So I can over the inside of the trunk and with some scuff pad. And I have blown all of the dust away. Obviously now I'm not doing a lot of work to get the dust out, because it doesn't matter here. But later on, when we're gonna paint the rest of the car, I'm gonna put a lot of effort in it to hopefully don't get it as bad as we got on the hood and the fenders. So yeah, just gonna shoot this, and the great thing is then this is done. Every inside surface is done. We can just sand it tomorrow. Hopefully we will have time to sand it and clean the garage tomorrow, so that on Wednesday, hopefully we're all done Wednesday morning, so that I have the whole day to paint. Because one thing that I do that is completely stupid is that I always start paint the last thing I do in the day. So at like 2:30 I'm standing there painting, knowing that I got to pick up the kids in 1 hour, and I'm stressed, and you know, so that's why I want to take a whole day. This is not going to take a whole day, but I want to have enough time to feel that I can sort out any issues when we do the big paint of the rest of the body. But anyway, I'm just gonna spray this, and then we can do some work to the Suburban. So there we have some paint on the inside of the trunk, and it's really hard to spray upwards with that type of paint gun that I used today. I have another one with the cup in the bottom, then they work a lot better to spray upwards, but I broke mine I had, so that's what I had. But I think I got paint everywhere, and it looks decent. Got some runs there and over there, but we just wanted to get some paint on it. Also, I almost forgot to paint this area, but I think that this looks a hell of a lot better than rust holes, so I'm happy with it. So yeah, now I can just tomorrow, this will harden now overnight. Tomorrow we just close the trunk lid, and then we can sand it. So now we can finally start working on what I want to be working on, and that is the Suburban. So first off, we're gonna see if we can remove this fender flare, side skirts, side steps, whatever it is. This already looks a hell of a lot better. I really don't like fender flares and side skirts and stuff like that. Obviously the rust looks a bit worse, And also there are some rust back here, but I'm not sure how much effort I want to put into this truck, but we can do some simple repairs, find some color that matches this bottom color and spray on it and make it look decent anyway. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. Gonna look great with the wheels I have for it. So let's remove the other skirt. So we have the side skirts off, and I think it looks so much better. I really like the bodies on these, and you get the curved line, and these really destroyed all of the shape of the body in my opinion. But I removed this in a rage, and yes, because I think they're so stupidly ugly. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove this lower valence, or what is front spoiler. It's not original. It's made of some thin metal, and I don't like all the lights and stuff. There's lights here in the grill. We're gonna remove them later, but I just don't like this, so I'm gonna remove that and see if I can move the license plates up. And I have some wheels we're gonna put on it, but I'm trying to save that a little bit. But maybe we can remove all of the trim panels on the inside, and then we can give this a wash. That looks a lot better. I actually kind of prefer these without the front spoiler, but I might look for an original one. As you can see, this is just some thin metal, but for now I think this looks really good. So I'm debating what I'm gonna do here, if I should start removing trim pieces from the interior, the wood pieces, but I think we're just gonna go ahead, give this a proper wash. So that also I'm gonna sell these wheels. I can go ahead and clean them a little bit so they look a bit better, and the overall car will look better, and then we can start changing the wheels. So now I just went over it really fast to wash off the biggest grime. And now we're gonna go on with this, which is very far from a regular car shampoo. This is a product called Strip All. I'm not sure if it's from America or where it is from. You could buy it here in Sweden before, but the guy that imported it unfortunately doesn't do it anymore, so it's hard to get by. But it's a powder that you mix with water, and it's for cleaning metals. You can dip a piece of, I mean, if you made a big bath, you can dip this fender, and it would, after a few days, it would come out super metal clean. But it's also really good for getting grime off, like a car that's not have a proper wash in 30 years. So this is gonna do amazing work on the body, removing all of this that makes it feel like a sandpaper. Also, it eats aluminum, so these wheels are gonna look, I'm not gonna say they're gonna look brand new, but they're gonna look incredibly much better than this. I think you're gonna be pretty impressed. So yeah, we're just gonna go over the whole truck, let it sit for a little while, do some scrubbing, and then we can wash it off. So this looks a lot better. Of course, it's gonna be not be as shiny when it dries up, but I think it looks better anyway. And as you can see, the wheels cleaned out really nicely. But about this being a two-wheel drive, and I don't know why I'm just stuck with the two-wheel drive thing, and some of the people are going to argue, just keep it in. If you have a four-wheel drive, just keep it in two-wheel drive. It's the same thing, but I don't think so. But something that really bugs me on the four-wheel drives, GMT 400s, compared to the two-wheel drives, is that if you look like this, you can see how much this wheel sticks out now that we don't have the flares. And we can see on the rear tire that it sticks out the same amount. And also it's 5-on-5 lug pattern, which opens up a whole new variety of wheels, which we're going to see with the wheels we're going to put on it. But if we look here at my actual four-wheel drive K1500, also this is a 1500, the Suburban is a 1500. It's a little bit hard to see here since I have flares in the rear and not in the front, but the track width on the 4x4s are wider in the front than in the rear. So whatever wheels you put on, the front wheels will always stick out more than the rear wheels, which I think is really ugly. And also, I mean, I have some 8-inch white spokes, nothing spectacular, and I have some small tires, and even though that they stick out, which I really don't like. I don't like when it sticks out, especially when you have a little tiny wheel like I have. So that's something that I having a hard time living with, which on the Suburban with two-wheel drive, you're not going to have that issue. You can get a little more tuck in here under the wheel well, which I think is a lot nicer. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can get the wheels on the Suburban. Well, these are the wheels we will be running. Some old school Kragar SS, and about the white line, I'm not sure that is fully the stance I want on this, but I think it looks really cool. I had these. I bought, you can see it on the channel, I think, from like almost just over a year ago. I bought another two-wheel drive that was really rusty, that I actually paid more for than this one. And I put these on there, and I think it looks really cool, and that's the vibe. I want this street cruiser thing, and I want normal size tires that not gonna howl on the highway, that will run smooth, and all of that. I don't like low profile tires. I like a 15-inch wheel with normal size tire. And the thing is with these wheels, they are obviously for the, what are these lugs called? I'm not sure. In Sweden we call them mag lugs, but I'm not sure with the, yeah, you know what I mean. But unfortunately, of course, it's made for these. And since these have metric threads, and these are an old school wheel and this isn't used anymore, it's very hard to find this thread, which is M14 by 1.5, with the style of lug that these wheels want. But I know that I can put this on, since I had them on my other car, and the studs sticks out like 1/2 inch. So we have a lot of thread for these, and I'm gonna say that it's not perfect, obviously, to run it like this, but I actually think that it would be workable. But yeah, it's not super great maybe, but I'm gonna see if I can find some lugs that are correct with the correct threads and everything, but I can't right now. But it's definitely going to be drivable like this. So this is the look we'll be going with. And why isn't this wheel rolling? I've already put on the other side and that worked. So that's really strange. I guess it's really tight to the caliper, because it worked on the other side and I felt that something was dragging a little bit and it stopped, so I guess it was a rock or something, but obviously it's a bit tighter on this side. But I'm gonna make it roll, and yeah, this is how it's going to look. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can make this roll, and then we're gonna put on the rear wheels. I know this isn't for everything, for everyone, but I think it looks really, really cool, and it's exactly the stance I want on this. Maybe we'll lower it in the future, and of course it would be cool to have it really low, but I am going to pull my trailer with it. And this is the trailer weight ratings here in Sweden is all over the place, and this is rated for 2,950 kilos, so right under 3 tons, and I can't convert that in my head. But for this vehicle in Sweden, it is really good because of stupid rules and how it's registered. The towing capacities is all over the place on even exactly exactly the same trucks and cars. But with that said, so I don't want to make it bouncy and just all over the road, but maybe we can do some moderate lowering where it's still usable. Also, I don't want to drag the ground everywhere. But I'm really happy with this. It's exactly what I want, and I think it looks good with the red paint. So we're gonna move on to the back and change those also. Also really quick, I forgot to mention that I grinded the calipers, and it was only the very top and the very bottom corners that stuck out a little bit more than the rest. So I grinded those, and now it runs smoothly. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Maybe I will take a little bit more here, but it is clearing, and clearing is clearing. If it's not hitting, it's not gonna hit when we drive it. So yeah, I'm gonna fix it and do it on the other side also, but it wasn't any more critical than that. So this looks really, really cool, and this is exactly what I wanted. Maybe we can lower it in the future, but I actually don't mind it being stock height, and I think we really turned this car into so more clean and a little more sophisticated. I really don't like the wide wheels with the aggressive thread pattern, and as I said, I really don't like those flares. I think they really ruin the body. I think these are really greatly shaped and also a great design, and yeah, the flares and everything really ruined it. Obviously it needs a lot more work. We need to fix the engine because it runs really rough, and I have driven it off the trailer over there and then here again, so we have to try it out. But it is exactly what I have wanted for a long while, and I'm really excited to get the Suburban home to the family, or to this family. So yeah, that will unfortunately be everything today. I don't have any more time, but I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna remove all of this ugly wood trim on the inside and do a lot of other work, but we're gonna focus on the Chevelle. But we are going to be working more on the Suburban in the future, and hopefully make it into a daily driver. So yeah, that will be all. I will see you in the next video.